I never imagined a single sentence could fracture a marriage so completely, but I suppose I underestimated how lightly some people treat loyalty today. My name is Rowan, and until a few months ago, I genuinely believed my wife Elodie and I were steady, warm, and imperfectly perfect in all the right ways. 4 years of shared mornings, awkward jokes, half-burnt pancakes, and lazy Sundays had cemented a life that was unglamorous but real. Then, one night, everything changed. It felt unreal, almost cinematic, as if someone had replaced my wife with a stranger wearing her face. It began with her pacing the living room, phone clutched tightly, as though hiding a secret. I was folding laundry, trying not to pry, yet her movements screamed for attention. So I asked, "Elodie, what's going on?" She stopped, staring at me with a mix of guilt and defiance, then said, without preamble, "You need to accept my friendship with my ex, or this marriage is over." No warning, no explanation, just a demand that felt like a threat. At first, I thought it was a joke, some strange attempt at drama. But her expression stayed rigid, her eyes hard. "What?" I managed. "He reached out," she said defensively.
Aiden.
We were talking and it felt familiar. I miss someone who understands me that way. Her words cut deeper than I expected, not because she missed him, but because she admitted it with such ease, as if our marriage were a minor inconvenience she could set aside when nostalgia struck. "Elodie," I said slowly, "you can't rebuild a bond with a man you once slept with and call it innocent." "You're insecure," she snapped back. "You should trust me." Trust would have been simpler if the phone in her hand wasn't constantly buzzing with his messages, which she always angled away from me. Then she yelled, louder than I had ever heard her, "Accept my friendship with my ex, or forget this marriage." In that moment, everything inside me went quiet, not shocked, not numb, just clear. And I answered calmly, "Easy choice, honey." She expected a fight, a breakdown, maybe tears. But I wasn't going to beg for the privilege of being disrespected. I packed a small bag with essentials, nothing dramatic, and waited until she fell asleep, muttering about boundaries and immaturity. By morning, I was gone. No slammed doors, no notes, just absence. I drove to my sister Marlo's apartment across town. She handed me coffee and didn't ask a single question, knowing I'd speak when I was ready. When I did, she simply said, "Protect your peace, Ro." By mid-morning, my phone erupted with notifications, calls, texts, desperate messages. At first, she was defiant. Asterisk, "We need to talk. Stop being dramatic. You can't just run away." Asterisk, then came pleading. Asterisk, "Rowan, where are you? Please pick up. I'm scared. Are you okay?" Asterisk. I didn't respond. By afternoon, her messages were frantic, almost incoherent, begging me to come home. Then came one that made my stomach twist. Asterisk, "Aiden says you're overreacting. You should grow up." Asterisk. That was it. That crossed a line. Now her ex felt entitled to weigh in on our marriage. I answered the next call, voice calm. "Who are you?" Her silence was deafening. Then, in a small, pleading whisper, she said, "It's me, Rowan, it's me." I let the words hang. "No," I replied. "I'm not sure who this is anymore. The person I knew doesn't exist today." She sobbed quietly. I said nothing. Some truths are better left unspoken. I spent the evening at Marlo's, replaying every demand, every word, every betrayal. It wasn't just about Aiden. It was about her willingness to prioritize her past over our present. I realized that no argument, no apology, could fix that. I had given all I could quietly, yet I was still treated like an option. By the next day, her texts had multiplied. Pleas, confessions, frantic apologies. Asterisk, "Rowan, I need you. I made a mistake. I didn't mean it. I swear." Asterisk, I read every one, but I didn't respond. I understood then that love without respect is nothing more than memory. That evening, I packed the rest of my belongings, leaving the apartment silent. Pictures on the walls smiled at me, frozen reminders of the past I would always cherish but could no longer inhabit. I left the house, the life, and the person I once loved behind. Driving through the quiet streets, I felt a calm I hadn't known in years. Not triumph, not vindication, just freedom. Freedom that comes from finally recognizing your own worth. By mid-afternoon, her messages had almost stopped. I didn't check my phone. A week later, she tried calling again. I let it ring, then listened to her voicemail once before deleting it. The woman I had married no longer existed. The woman who demanded I accept her ex or leave had taken everything I gave for granted. I had learned my lesson: never sacrifice self-respect for someone else's nostalgia. Sometimes love isn't about holding on. Sometimes it's about letting go. And letting go doesn't feel like loss, it feels like waking up. I parked near Marlowe's, breathed in the cool evening air, and smiled faintly. The road ahead was uncertain, maybe lonely, but it was mine. And for the first time in a long while, that felt enough. Because in the end, the only person you can truly rely on is yourself.